And here we go. Ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, I present to you a scary man from the Ukraine. You may not wish to meet this guy in a dark alley at night, but if you did, he'd probably give you a hug.
A hug?
A hug. I think so.
And then if you drop your wallet and you're feeling scared, he'd probably pick it up and give it you back.
Yeah, he's actually a scary-looking man, but he's incredibly kind. He is a very, very awesome person. He is one of the most manner people in this community. And as a direct result, ladies and gentlemen, I bring you...
MTW Mind Factory, DIMAGA.
He is in the red trunks, and he is playing Zerg to the north of the Metalopolis in the close air position. And his opponent, the champion of SCi3. Oh, and what a champion he was, playing an incredible series of games. One of the best Protoss in Europe, one of the best Protoss in the world, and of course, in his home country, an incredibly dominant force in Germany. Ladies and gentlemen, it is my pleasure to introduce to you your reigning champion.
Alternate Attack Socke.
He is in the yellow trunks, and he is playing Protoss to the east of the Metalopolis right here.
So he's back to defend his title, and if he can, what a living he will make if he won every tournament in the SHOUTcraft Invitational. That is for sure, obviously powered by the community here.
This is the Socke Invitational, the SHOUTcraft Invitational. I'd go with SHOUTcraft, I think so.
SHOUTcraft.
SHOUTcraft is... There's always this big debate about the pronunciation of Socke. Like, for instance, in Germany, it's Sock, or I believe Cat's Pajamas actually pointed out the correct pronunciation was Zocke.
Yeah, Zocke,
So,
I think
Zocke.
it is, yeah.
But he's okay with being called Socke and things like that. The thing is, he's like the chillest guy in the world. He would be okay with you calling him Jim.
Probably. Alternate Attacks Jim.
Alternate
It'd be
Attacks
the worst
Jim.
nickname in the world.
Well, we've got this as Jimmy. So, you know, that's kind of close. But I suppose Jim is a little bit generic, I have to say. It's Spartan. It's...
Well,
without ostentation.
Imagine that Socke made it to the World Cyber Games Grand Finals or the GSL Codes Finals, and the commentators go, "We have Dom, Ray, Goo!"
Yay!
And then all of a sudden, we have Jim. It's like,
Jim?
oh.
What Jim? You can't do an intro for someone called Jim. That's actually a problem. So yeah, ladies and gentlemen, if you do want to be a pro StarCraft player, do not call yourself Jim, because the commentators will hate you and will ruin your career.
Probably you have to, when you get a PR agent, probably have to change name. Image consultant, the first discussion within that meeting.
Jim does not intimidate anyone. Yeah, we must change Jim because it's not an intimidating name and the casters hate it. So there you go. It's going to be a nice 4 Zergling into expand right here for DIMAGA. Not too aggressive. Nice, solid, stable opening from him. Gets his queen out. No supply blocking problems. Gets his hatchery down at the appropriate time. It couldn't be more standard an opening against Protoss.
Yeah, indeed. And, I mean, Socke loves to go ahead and just go 1 get expo. So I would not be surprised if he did that very, very shortly here. Probably get a sentry after this Stalker and then expand.
Yeah.
And DIMAGA, I'm actually surprised he even decided to take gas. It can be a little bit dangerous on Metalopolis to not take gas, but he does like to play for this gasless style. And I love that Socke pushes out. Speed or no speed, he actually moves out and forces links to be made. As we can see in the production tab, 8 links have been made because of this Stalker. If Socke is on his game, he should be turning around very, very shortly here. He needs to make sure that a Spine Crawler is made, or 8 links are made. And as we see now, the Stalker retreats. And that just gives a 1-up. And the end of the goal is whenever I coach somebody, the end goal against Zerg, do not let them drone. Whatever you do not do that without throwing the game away. If obviously he went too far with the Stalker, you're throwing the game away. Halfway, you're not letting him drone.
Yep, that's exactly what he's doing. And DIMAGA did go for the gas, as I said, just to pick up that. And he's now mining it again after a break of quite some time. And needless to say, most likely looking for tech of some description or the lair. And DIMAGA looking for a way in. He's going to force the force field right there. Doesn't take too much damage. And he might just keep poking at this little wall off right there, just to annoy his opponent. Possibly force another force field. But Socke is an incredibly calm player. He's not going to be doing anything like that.
Yeah, a bit of a nervous force field, though, I think.
Initially, yeah.
It's okay. I mean, it's not huge. And we are going to... DIMAGA's basically going to try and cancel, try and force another force field. Meanwhile, DIMAGA loves to take a 3rd base, so I would not be surprised if he did that very, very shortly here. He isn't a player that will go, all right, let's try and bust this, because he knows it's a gamble. Whereas if you take the 3rd base, it's a lot less risky, and you can go ahead and just push your economy, which is what every Zerg player wishes to do. Meanwhile, Socke is just going to sit back on the defensive. Socke is also known for going for a Stargate too, just throwing that mid-game, Voiders out to try and deny that 3rd base. Meanwhile, we haven't seen the 3rd base going up yet, though. We are going for Roach Warren and Evolution Chamber.
Interesting.
The thing is with DIMAGA is he is a passive Zerg player, but if he sees an opportunity, he will definitely jump on it. He's not a bad Zerg player. He is one of the best. He will jump on weaknesses.
It's interesting that we started off on Metalopolis, actually, because isn't this the map where the ridiculous 50-plus minute game in Assembly against Mana happened?
I can't remember.
I think it was.
So many games, I don't know.
Yeah, I think it was. And that game did go on for over about 50 minutes. I'm pretty sure they mined out everything. And DIMAGA with a little bit of a run by there, taking some damage. He will be able to make his way into the middle line and maybe the base, but Socke walling off with probes right there and the cannons up, so he's able to deny the scout.
I mean, DIMAGA's trying to find out what's happening. There is a Stalker on patrol move, again denying vision. So DIMAGA's playing very safe, very defensive. He knows that this is the reigning champion. Socke is very capable of throwing down 2-3 gateways behind this and attacking with a lot of units. And then DIMAGA will not be prepared because he's droning quite heavily behind this. Meanwhile, he's going to start building units up now. He's getting 3 spine crawlers as well. The third queen is not creep spreading yet, which is interesting. A little bit of a mistake there from DIMAGA. Meanwhile, we are seeing now the Twilight Council being added on. There is that blink, which will be coming in. And he's kind of ignoring the robotics facility at the moment, which is what Socke does.
Yeah, he is not really big into this whole early rover thing. He'll get hallucinations when necessary in order to scout, but he's feeling pretty comfortable right now. Doesn't think that there's anything crazy coming in, and for the most part, he's right. It's going to be a +1 melee attack upgrade, which is fairly common, honestly. You might think, well, why would he build +1 melee when he's building roaches? And I'm sure Apollo can give you the answer to that.
Well, I mean, he has Lings, right? So Lings are always going to be able to pick off buildings and structures, 3rd Nexus, 2nd Nexus, whatever, really, really fast with that upgrade. If he wants to dedicate his entire army to roaches, then he'll get +1 missile attacks. But he is going to be very heavy in Lings, which probably means he'll want to go down Infestor route or something like that. So I wouldn't be surprised if we did see that. Meanwhile, there's the very late 3rd from DIMAGA, playing so cautious, unbelievably cautious in this game. Is really tiptoeing on ice right now. Meanwhile, there is the +2 coming up now for Socke. There is Blink on its way. And as soon as +2 and Blink is up, he'll start harassing. He'll start poking around the map because he does have that mobility.
Yes, he does. And there's a macro hatch on the way up as well for DIMAGA. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of macro buildings we get in this tournament, because I was watching Destiny's stream yesterday, and he went for the infamous Macro Nexus.
Macro Nexus?
Yeah, he was playing Protoss on the PTI.
Oh, really?
He went for a Macro Nexus. He actually won that game as well, if you can believe it.
I mean, I was talking to somebody, actually, I think it was Pureball himself, actually, who mentioned, why do not Protoss players mid-game spend 400 minerals on a proxy Nexus so that you can chrono boost everything out multiple times faster? And I said, I don't know.
I just guess they don't.
Theory.
I mean, it's good to get the extra chrono boost, no real doubt about that. And of course, you can build more probes for an easy saturation if need be, if you haven't already saturated. But yeah,
sweet. It's an interesting discussion. I mean, I haven't really thought about it too deeply, but it's interesting.
Yeah. In the meantime, DIMAGA is going for exactly what you suggested. He's going to get the +1 missile attack upgrade because he's got Infestors on the way, and he already has this +1 melee. So any kind of early game push can be shut down pretty nicely there by the combination of Roachling. Pathogen Glands on the way up as well, so this is not merely building that for the sake of a hive. There's also going to be a Spire coming in, and why would you not build a Spire in close air? There's no reason not to.
Yeah, I mean, he can well, the thing is that DIMAGA still has pretty much no idea what's going on. If you look at his vision, it's just still 3 gateways. The Stalker's still patrolling. He has no idea what's going on.
Yeah.
This could be Colossus. It very well could be. The thing is with DIMAGA is he's a very safe passive player. He will build all the structures, so he can build anything he wants.
Build all the things. Why not? It's a good idea. Socke now sitting on some creep, and he's going to get a little bit aggressive. There's that aggressive pylon from him. Army supply count currently in favor of Socke. That said, of course, there are lots of Infestors and Roaches on the way. Plus, those upgrades are getting close to completion. So if Socke spends quite a lot of time trying to make his way through this defensive line, which is very likely, then those upgrades and surprises could be popping out. And there we go. Force fields deployed to try and stop those Zerglings from getting in there. In the meantime, there's another warp in coming in from the side that's going to attack the 3rd as well. And
defended 3rd.
That's not good. He's got Blink as well, bear that one in mind, so he can very easily hop up to the top if need be. And now blocking that off as quickly as possible as the Fungal to the left flank right there. And all the Roaches trapped in there. In the meantime, this 3rd taking some damage. Queen trying to hold it. No chance that's going to happen. And Socke looking really good right now.
He's looking really good. The macro of DIMAGA is good, but he's losing so many drones at that top base that he's not going to be able to keep this up. Versus 6 gates, they're going to be pumping all day long until the main and natural mine out. It's going to be difficult to hold, especially when you lose your 3rd like this.
Yep, and he's going to go for a lot of Lings, which is sensible, considering there's only 1 sentry left, and now there's no sentries left. And it comes down to Blink Stalker micromanagement right here. Roaches will not be a good idea. Lings, on the other hand, will be. That 3rd has now been denied. Socke takes that out very, very nicely indeed. A big warp in there by Socke. He wants to go in for the kill. field. There are more circlings on the way up, but there's only 17 on the field. Couple of infestors, but no energy currently available. And Socke wants to go for it. He is looking to go for it. Gets plenty of good blinks up. There's a quick transfuse on the Roach Ray right there to the side. There are not enough lings, and Socke is throwing it down. A quick blink. Infestors down as well. Will DIMAGA concede this game so early?
Indeed he will.
GG, there you go. And Socke coming out all